Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a pre-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Pettis versus Moreno. UFC flyweight division's first big main event without Demetrius Johnson in the talks. So this makes this main event pretty unique and interesting in that sense. And yeah, wow. This card is actually a pretty decent card. It's definitely for the diehard fans, and with Rashad Evans on this main card, it's for the casual fans as well, since he's such a big name in the sport. And then Sergio Pettis being the brother of Anthony Pettis, some people may be familiar with him as well, outside the diehard fans. Anyway, so there's a pre-fight rundown of the main card with predictions, and let's get started. So the main event is in the flyweight division. It's Sergio Pettis versus Brandon Moreno, and I'm picking Moreno by submission round 2 because I think his ground game is a little bit better and his submission game is a little bit better. However, Sergio Pettis has underrated ground game and great striking, obviously, training with Duke Rufus. And I think that Moreno is a big deal in the flyweight division. I think he's a top prospect to look out for. And I think that Moreno is a guy that Mexico... Moreno is a guy that Mexico... that the UFC will use in Mexico quite a bit to build that market. Moreno, you know, he's a Mexican UFC fighter, top prospect. The guy's really talented. Every time I've doubted this guy, he's proved me wrong, and at this point I'm not picking against him. So yeah, and he's favored on the UFC Fantasy as well, 58%. So yeah, Brandon Moreno, I'm picking him over Sergio Pettis. Then in the co-main event, we had originally a women's strawweight match with Ronda Marcos and Alexa Grasso. However, Grasso missed weight, so it's a catch weight at 119 pounds, and I'm picking Alexa Grasso by decision. I think she keeps the fight standing. Her takedown defense is overall pretty good, and she's going to use that height and reach on Ronda Marcos and Al Pointer to a decision victory in the striking department. Then in the welterweight division, we have Alan Jouban versus Nico Price. This one I went back and forth on. The casual fans are going to know who Alan Jouban is. The hardcore fans are going to know who Nico Price is. Nico Price, wow, the guy could win by knockout, and I'm picking Nico Price, second round knockout. I think that Nico Price can take some hard shots. Alan Jouban can too. They're both great strikers. But yeah, like this one I've kind of gone back and forth on because Alan Jouban's probably the more experienced fighter in terms of big competition in the UFC. And Nico Price is a guy to really look out for, who has all the talent in the world. And so I'm giving Nico Price a 51% chance of winning by second round knockout. However, I think Alan Jouban could win also by second round knockout, but I'll give him a 49% chance, or Jouban wins by decision. If the fight goes to a decision, I'll lean towards Jouban winning, but I think Nico Price gets it done, second round knockout. Then in the featherweight division, we have Martin Bravo versus Humberto Dene, and Martin Bravo, I'm picking unanimous decision. I think that he has a lot of tools to win, and he's a well-rounded fighter. Then in the middleweight division, we have Sam Alvey, smiling Sam Alvey versus Rashad Evans, former UFC light heavyweight champ. Sam Alvey, I think, is a natural middleweight. Rashad Evans doing too big of a cut and may want to consider going back up to light heavyweight. And I think Sam Alvey gets it done here on strikes. I think Sam Alvey gets first round knockout here. I think Sam Alvey can take some hard shots, and Sam Sam Alvey will be able to recover if he gets hit hard with Rashad. However, Rashad could use his wrestling, but I think Sam Alvey has great takedown defense due to training with Dan Henderson. So I think Sam Alvey gets it done, first round knockout. Then in the bantamweight division to kick off the main card, we have Alejandro Perez versus Andre Suka Sok Hamthon. Andre Sukamoth. I believe I said that right. Anyhow, picking on Alejandro Perez, I think Perez is a well-rounded fighter and experienced veteran in the UFC, where that experience will pay off, and I think he gets it done. And also home crowd advantage in a sense. He's Mexican descent and he's fighting in Mexico. So there you have it. There's my predictions. Perez by decision. So and then in the middleweight division, honorable mention on the prelims, we have Brad Scott versus Jack Hermansson, and I'm picking Hermansson, second round knockout on that one. That should be a barn burner right there. And then you have Dustin Ortiz, who's always fun to watch, also on the prelims. Anyhow, that wraps up the pre-fight show for this amazing UFC Fight Night card. And stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight. And until then, see ya.